Chapter 481, 275. Reuniting with Qi Qingmo. The Sea God? Just Shen Qinghan's gatekeeper, that's all. 2. As long as Qi Qingmo appeared, it meant that the danger she was currently facing could be easily resolved. However, when she also noticed the thorny vines under Qi Qingmo's feet brimming with vitality and glowing green, her brows immediately furrowed, and her whole body tensed up. Because she realized Qi Qingmo was fleeing somewhat frantically now. She was completely focused on escaping at high speed, without any sign of intending to fight back. This indicated that the enemy controlling those green glowing thorny vines in pursuit of Qi Qingmo was far more powerful than her. And judging from the thorny vines, it was very likely that the adversary came from the Sun Moon Sacred Land. Sun Moon Sacred Land, that was a mortal enemy. This was bad news among bad news. Elsewhere, Qi Qingmo, who had burst forth from the ground, spotted Lin Zikan and the other two right away. Upon seeing them, without any hesitation, she decisively waved her jade hand, drawing the three to her side, shattered the restraints on their bodies with a thought, and fled the area at high speed along with them. She didn't recognize Sujuja, but she recognized Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan. Since Sujuja was with the other two, she decided to take them along as well. Slaw! 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 In front of the fleeing Qi Qingmo, a series of crisp tearing sounds could be heard. It was the air being torn apart, revealing deep, bottomless cracks in the void. These crisscrossing cracks formed an impenetrable net that swept toward Qi Qingmo with all-encompassing force. It was the flower god who had made a move. Its true form was a chaotic void flower that spanned several epochs, born from the mysterious abyss, and highly adept at using void tactics. Confronted with the flower god's net, Qi Qingmo didn't even glance at it and simply unleashed her devastating blood chi power, smashing the incoming net from afar. Then, amid a sky filled with void debris, she flew toward the distance at a speed beyond imagination. In the blink of an eye, she was already out of the flower god's sensory range. That damn Taoist robe woman! As the flower god watched the direction in which Qi Qingmo disappeared, it trembled with rage, wishing it could skin, disassemble her bones, and drink her blood to quell the hatred in its heart. After calming its emotions somewhat, the flower god immediately followed the green glowing thorny vines down to the depths of the earth, anxiously checking on the situation inside to see how the slumbering wood god was doing. A short while later, the flower god arrived at the wood god's resting place. A vast ancient tomb. The flower god went straight to the deepest part of the tomb, and upon seeing the tombstone broken in half and the green glowing thorny vines spreading out from beneath it, it was instantly filled with teeth-gritting fury. The slumbering wood god had been awakened. This meant that the wood god's reversal of growth in this epoch was prematurely terminated, weakening its strength somewhat. One day, I will personally kill that damned Taoist robe woman. The flower god muttered with a dark expression. No sooner had the words fallen than a humanoid exotic fruit floated up from the depths beneath the tombstone. This humanoid exotic fruit looked like a 7 or 8-year-old child, naked, curled up in the air as if not yet born. About a half moment passed. The childlike exotic fruit slowly opened a pair of murky compound eyes, gazing unhappily at the flower god in front of him. Why allow a foreign race to enter the divine tomb and disrupt my slumber? My lord wood god, let me explain. On that beautiful face of the flower god appeared a terror not befitting a mythical level creature. The humanoid exotic fruit didn't listen to the flower god's explanation and instantly shot countless sturdy, thick vines from its body, which wrapped around the flower god like octopus tentacles. The next second, the flower god, a mythical level creature, screamed in pain. The vines that bound it, many of which had pierced its body, were ruthlessly draining the essence from within. As the essence continued to be drained, the once full-faced flower god suddenly became as gaunt and dry as dead wood. After being released and carelessly thrown aside, it landed on the ground with a thud, barely clinging to life. Do not let it happen again. With this cold statement, the humanoid exotic fruit returned to the depths of the earth, rooting itself in an underground river flowing with essence. Elsewhere, like Linziken before her, Qi Qingmo was flying at high speed with no particular direction in mind. Not caring where she was flying to. Only caring that she flew fast, to get as far away as possible from the place where she had just broken through the earth. Pavilion Master, how come you're here? Unable to voice his words due to the high-speed flight, Linziken resorted to conveying them through his Qi blood, sending his own blood Qi into Qi Qingmo's body to relay his question. Receiving his message, Qi Qingmo quickly sent back a response in the same manner. This is going to be hard to explain in a short time, I'll tell you about it later when there's time. Okay. Linziken didn't waste words, he merely responded with a phrase as precious as gold. Now was the time to flee, and he was worried that speaking too much would affect Qi Qingmo. And so, the group flew in silence high above. Time passed, but no one knew how long had gone by. As Qi Qingmo led Linziken and the other two across a broad expanse of ocean, huge, sky-high waves suddenly rose and formed a terrifying giant hand that swept towards Qi Qingmo. Faced with the sudden attack, Qi Qingmo didn't panic and instead, her blood Qi power burst forth, shattering the oncoming giant hand into myriad droplets. Get out! The eastern region does not welcome you. If you dare stay longer, I'll ensure you, Taoist robe woman, will go without return today. The myriad droplets that had been scattered by the force of the blood Qi power quickly recondensed into a 100-meter-tall giant with an extremely robust physique, who fiercely glared at Qi Qingmo, issuing her a warning. Qi Qingmo was notoriously unfavored wherever she went in the origin land, causing chaos and havoc. Facing the warning from the 100-meter giant, Qi Qingmo was about to speak, but before she could make a sound, Sujia on the side summoned all her strength and shouted. Sea God, Green Hill's ancient mountain has been attacked by Elder Tree from the Sun Moon Sacred Land and Lord of Silence from the Land of Oblivion. My aunt is struggling to hold her own and needs your help immediately. Sujija's voice was loud. It resonated so powerfully that the sea below surged with waves. She never dreamt that she would be imploring the sea god with such hostility. This notorious Taoist robe woman. Eventually, the message was still conveyed to the other side of the eastern region. The mythical level expert of the eastern region was a sea god. Linziken saw it, a sea creature pictured in the murals, worshipping a woman. It was a guard watching the gate. Then, a major confrontation was on the brink of breaking out. The mythical level expert of the eastern region crossed a great region in a single thought, and the battle ensued. When the experts on the human side got the news, they also came to join the battle. To take down the Sun Moon Sacred Land first. Invading Earth had always been the handiwork of the Sun Moon Sacred Land. Linziken joined the battle as well. Various climaxes, the male protagonist's chaotic killing, various resources. Entering the central region, entering the ruins, gaining strength, evolving wildly. Then, at the epic level. After that, the legendary level. Later on, the situation suddenly turned, and they were routed by the forces of the Sun Moon Sacred Land. Ultimately, the Sun Moon Sacred Land's side celebrated a grand victory in this war. The Earthlings completely retreated from the origin land. Because Shen Qinghan was still trapped in the Palace of Water God and couldn't leave. Linziken stood as a lone sentinel defending the solitary city, protecting Shen Qinghan. City number 1. In the end, with Shen Qinghan's attributes, Linziken fled with her into the abyss. There, they discovered it was exactly like what he had seen in his dreams. Afterward, the protagonist used the abyss creatures to kill either legendary level experts or mythical level experts. With the abyss at his back as the abyss master. He used the abyss creatures to slay mythical level creatures, causing dramatic changes in the heavens and the earth, and myriad phenomena that shocked everyone. Then, a major confrontation was on the brink of breaking out. The mythical level expert of the eastern region crossed a great region in a single thought, and the battle ensued. When the experts on the human side got the news, they also came to join the battle. To take down the Sun-Moon Sacred Land first. Invading Earth had always been the handiwork of the Sun-Moon Sacred Land. Linziken joined the battle as well. Various climaxes, the male protagonist's chaotic killing, various resources. Entering the central region, entering the ruins, gaining strength, evolving wildly. Then, at the epic level. After that, the legendary level. Later on, the situation suddenly turned, and they were routed by the forces of the Sun-Moon Sacred Land. Ultimately, the Sun-Moon Sacred Land's side celebrated a grand victory in this war. The Earthlings completely retreated from the origin land. P.S. I'm begging, seeking monthly pass recommendations. Chapter 482, 276. Mythical Level Great War. Prelude. What did you say? The sea god, the 100-meter giant made of seawater before them, watched Sujuja next to Qi King Mo with a grave expression and asked, Green Hill's ancient mountain has been attacked by Elder Tree and Lord of Silence together. It was then that the sea god noticed Sujuja's presence. Until now, all his attention had been on Qi King Mo, constantly on guard against this Taoist robe woman who turned the origin land upside down. Yes. Elder Tree and Lord of Silence are attacking Green Hill's ancient mountain together. Right now, only my aunt is struggling to maintain the mountain protection array, resisting the joint attack of those two, Sujuja replied anxiously. Although anxious, she didn't dare rush a mythical level creature to immediately head to Green Hill's ancient mountain for rescue, she just stated the matter as it was. The sea god did not fully believe Sujuja's words. Having evolved from a weak aquatic creature to a ruler who dominated the eastern region, caution was an indispensable quality. Otherwise, no matter how talented, one would have long since perished in various crises, erased deep in the annals of history. Boom! A loud noise was heard, and the 100-meter giant composed of seawater suddenly collapsed into countless droplets that fell onto the sea surface, splashing water everywhere. At the same time the giant collapsed, a nimble figure burst forth from the ocean, rising to the sky to become parallel with Qi King Mo. It was a man, the sea god's true form. His appearance was the same as the 100-meter giant just now, only his stature had changed to a little over 2 meters tall, possessing a body full of vigorous life force. Under the watchful eyes of the others, the sea god conjured a crystal-clear orb in his hand and dropped a droplet of essence blood onto it, muttering strange incantations. Shen Qinghan couldn't help but be slightly moved when he heard these incantations. Then, turning his head towards Linziken with a covered motion, he communicated through qi blood transmission, Linzi, the incantations he's muttering sound very similar to the whispers that used to echo in my mind. It's not just the sound, the language itself seems very similar. Linziken was not at all surprised, and simply responded calmly through qi blood transmission, this proves that the divine inheritance within you comes from the water god. It makes sense for the water god to speak the same language as the sea god. Shen Qinghan nodded, finding this quite reasonable. Linziken transmitted once more, have you noticed that the sea god before us looks identical to one of the figures we saw on the murals in the underwater ruins? What do you mean? Shen Qinghan had not noticed the resemblance between the sea god and any figure in the murals, as her ability to spot details was far inferior to that of Linziken. Linziken explained, the mural we saw earlier depicted a group of high-status aquatic creatures all venerating a mysterious woman lying in a shell with expressions of awe. I guess that the mysterious woman in the shell is most likely the so-called water god. And the sea god before us was featured in that mural. In the mural, he played the role of a sturdy gatekeeper. Even from afar at the entrance, he knelt on the ground alongside the other aquatic creatures, worshipping the mysterious woman with a devout expression. A mythical level expert who can dominate a region was just a gatekeeper. Having heard Linziken's explanation, Shen Qinghan felt immensely shocked. She couldn't imagine that the sea god, with his boundless strength, was merely a minor gatekeeper. By such a comparison, how powerful must the water god be? On the other side, while Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan were communicating through Qi blood transmission. Qi Qingmo heard everything. She was now an adept at utilizing Qi blood herself. The pioneer of this field, Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan's Qi blood transmission could not escape her perception. She just listened quietly to the exchange between the two and did not take any action. Opposite them, the sea god was still murmuring to the orb in his hand. Suddenly, the color of the orb changed from its crystal clear pale blue to a deep, rich black. Upon witnessing this scene, the sea god's brows furrowed tightly, and his expression became extremely somber. The bead in his hand could reveal the future path of a living being. He had just observed the future path of the mountain lord of Green Hill's ancient mountain, Sumai Xiao. When the bead turned pitch black, it indicated that the future path was grim. And the intense blackness meant it was exceptionally dire. Exceptionally dire referred to either demise or a fate worse than death, a living hell. At this moment, the sea god could no longer sit idly by. Sumai Xiao, the mountain lord of Green Hill's ancient mountain, was an old friend he had made when he was still a rare level creature. With several epochs of friendship, he was willing to risk his own life to rescue Sumai Xiao. Taoist robe woman, accompany me to Green Hill's ancient mountain to partake in the rescue mission. Ask for any reward you desire. With eyes as deep blue as the sea, rippling like its surface, the sea god looked directly at Qi Qingmo, a mythical level expert of the same caliber as himself, and spoke. Qi Qingmo responded indifferently, I want the bead in your hand. Take it. The sea god, without the slightest hesitation, flung the bead in his hand towards Qi Qingmo. Then, he threw several crystal clear glass bottles filled with an unknown liquid. Within these glass bottles lies primordial water essence, which takes at least an epoch to condense into a small vial. Primordial water essence is one of the vital substances from which all things originated. According to records in ancient ruins, the progenitors of all living beings in the origin land were born from a vast ocean composed of primordial water essence. It is said that the water god, one of the most ancient deities of the origin land, was the first being born from the primordial water essence. To put it bluntly, just a drop of primordial water essence could allow a legendary level creature who has reached the end of its evolution path to break the limits of evolution and possess the potential to evolve into a mythical level creature. I am giving you these precious vials of primordial water essence in addition to the bead because I hope that you will give your all in the upcoming rescue of Green Hill's ancient mountain. The sea god, afraid that Qi Qingmo would not fully commit to the rescue, purposely gave her several vials of primordial water essence. Qi Qingmo waved her jade hand, catching the glass bottles that were thrown at her. The moment her hand touched the bottles, she immediately sensed the endless vitality they contained. This is a treasure. Qi Qingmo's eyes lit up. Meanwhile, Lin Zikan was observing the primordial water essence in the glass bottles, recalling the sea god's introduction, and he began to entertain the idea of asking Qi Qingmo for a vial of primordial water essence. He didn't want it for himself but was considering it for Shen Qinghan. From the moment Shen Qinghan was born, she had a special connection with water. Most crucially, she is now suspected to be the vessel for the resurrection of the water god. He wondered, if such as Shen Qinghan possessed a vial of primordial water essence, could her biological level soar dramatically? As he pondered these and other things, the sea god urged Qi Qingmo, there's no time to idle here with chatter. Let's depart now. In the blink of an eye upon his declaration, the sea god vanished. He did not bring any other powerhouses with him. Apart from mythical level, all others participating would merely be cannon fodder. Lin Zikan wanted to follow them. He was going to loot bodies. P.S. I had to go out today for some errands, unavoidably delaying the update, resulting in a short chapter of just 2,000 words. My apologies. Chapter 483, 277, Night King's Son. Ambush. Boom. In the sky above, a massive sound of breaking through the air echoed through the entire sky. Qi Qingmo, accompanied by Lin Zikan and two others, hurried toward Green Hill's ancient mountain at the highest speed. Where they passed, the air exploded, creating numerous bottomless void cracks, emanating strands of ice-cold, bone-chilling air. Linziken did not want to follow to Green Hill's ancient mountain. With his biological level only at Epic Order 1, he simply did not qualify to appear on a battlefield of mythical level. However, the flying speed of Qi King Mo was too fast. The massive pressure generated during the flight directly pressed his sea of consciousness into chaos, clouding his entire mind and leaving him unable to speak. By the time he realized it, he was already within the territory of Green Hill's ancient mountain, hearing the sounds of a mighty fight not far away. It was the sounds of Elder Tree and Lord of Silence joining forces to attack the mountain protection array of Green Hill's ancient mountain. Rumble. Suddenly, a deafening sound was heard. Linziken saw a film of light covering the surroundings of Green Hill's ancient mountain, which at that moment was filled with cracks and, accompanying the massive noise, shattered like broken glass. The mountain protection array of Green Hill's ancient mountain was destroyed. Elder Tree and Lord of Silence had jointly breached the defenses of Green Hill's ancient mountain. At the same time, the sea god, flying at the forefront, reached the location of the mountain protection array and furiously charged toward Elder Tree and Lord of Silence. In an instant, the water within 100 miles, as if heeding a call, surged skyward toward the sea god's location. Encircling the sea god's body. Enveloping the sea god's body. In just the blink of an eye, the sea god transformed into a 1,000-meter-tall water giant reaching up to the heavens and ferociously attacked Elder Tree and Lord of Silence. Seeing that a major battle was about to commence, Qi King Mo immediately ditched Linziken and the other two and joined the battlefield. On the battlefield, Elder Tree and Lord of Silence had just breached the mountain protection array of Green Hill's ancient mountain and were preparing to target the mountain lord, Sumai Xiao. The next second, the water giant, towering into the clouds and carrying the might of world destruction, fiercely punched at the two. The power of the punch, tearing through the air and illuminating the entire sky with massive flashes of lightning. Elder Tree and Lord of Silence sensed the danger. The former summoned the heaven-reaching giant vine, forming a massive wooden wall blocking out the sky to protect themselves. The latter summoned a giant black circle resembling a black hole, akin to a gaping maw that devoured the earth-shattering punch completely. Just when Elder Tree and Lord of Silence thought they had successfully dodged the attack, suddenly, countless water droplets rich in origin force fell from the sky like bullets, pouring down directly on Elder Tree and Lord of Silence. At the same time, having caught their breath, Sumai Xiao and Qi King Mo, who had arrived at the battlefield, immediately took action to support the sea god. Merely in a brief moment, the situation rapidly shifted from 1 versus 2 to 3 versus 2. In one moment, Elder Tree and Lord of Silence had an absolute advantage, the next moment, they fell into an absolute disadvantage. Under the joint attack of the sea god, Qi King Mo and Sumai Xiao, Elder Tree and Lord of Silence chose not to confront them head-on and immediately turned around to retreat without a second word. Chase. The sea god dropped this word and took the lead to chase after the victory, unwilling to let Elder Tree and Lord of Silence go and vowed to make them pay. Qi King Mo quickly followed upon seeing this. Sumai Xiao hesitated, worried this might be a strategy to lure the tiger away from the mountain. But upon reflection, she thought that even if it was a strategy to lure the tiger away from the mountain, it was still a good thing. At least it would move the battlefield away from Green Hill's ancient mountain. Thinking this, Sumai Xiao quickly followed as well, intending to join the sea god and Qi King Mo in chasing the fleeing Elder Tree and Lord of Silence. In an instant, the 5 mythical level experts were far from Green Hill's ancient mountain, their next battleground unknown. In the southern domain, within a dark cave, the Night King hung upside down on the cave wall, resting with his eyes closed, awaiting a message from Elder Tree. Suddenly, his pitch-black eyes opened as he received a message from Elder Tree. The plan was a success. They had successfully lured the sea god from the eastern region, and further led the sea god into the array. Is the Taoist robe woman there too? Good. Kill her to pay tribute to the heavens. The Night King ominously muttered. The moment his voice fell, he violently spread his terrifying wings, tearing through space to head toward his destination. After he disappeared, a young man only in his 30s, yet already of a rare 9th order great perfection biological level, quickly told his 4 personal guards, "Let's go, we'll head to Green Hill's ancient mountain immediately and capture all the good-looking fox women to bring back as cauldrons." He was the Night King's only son, named Ye Wuming. He had long coveted the fox women of Green Hill's ancient mountain, especially the holy maiden Sujuju, for whom he had yearned day and night, desiring to press her beneath him and lavish her with intense love. Now that there was a direct opportunity to invade Green Hill's ancient mountain, he would not miss it. "Yes, young master." The 4 guards responded in unison, immediately following Ye Wuming to Green Hill's ancient mountain. His 4 guards, 2 men and 2 women. The 2 men were both legendary level experts, responsible for ensuring his safety. The 2 women were both epic level experts, both well built and beautiful, and most importantly, they knew how to serve a man, staying by his side for his sexual amusement. At the foot of Green Hill's ancient mountain, Linziken dispersed his spiritual power, sensing everything around him, contemplating where he should go next. He thought about returning to the city, but the city was not very clean, not knowing how many traitors there were, making it unsafe. Linziken wanted to aimlessly distance himself from the mythical level battles but didn't know which direction to escape. He worried that a careless choice of direction could land him in an irredeemable situation. "Why don't you 2 come with me up the mountain?" Sujuja saw Linziken's dilemma and took the initiative to invite. After saying that, she added, "The mountain protection array will soon self-repair and restart. Staying on the mountain is very safe, much safer than heading to other places." Linziken couldn't think of any other destination. Hearing her suggestion, he unpretentiously said, "Then I must impose." "It's no imposition at all," Sujuja squeezed out a smile and said. Linziken agreeing to go up the mountain was something she had longed for. Green Hill's ancient mountain held numerous evolution resources. As the Holy Maiden, she wanted to later show off the evolution resources she controlled to Linziken, hoping to retain him as a dual cultivation companion. Yes, a dual cultivation companion. Now, she no longer dared to treat Linziken as merely a servile consort as she had in the past. She knew she was not worthy. If it came to it, she was even willing to become Linziken's servile consort, subject to his whims. The fox women of Green Hill's ancient mountain each carried a bit of an innate charming body trait. As long as they could attach themselves to a powerful companion, they wouldn't need to strive further, just by spreading their legs, they could evolve rapidly. This was a unique trait of the Green Hills fox women. Soon, under Sujuja's lead, Linziken and Shen Qinghan ascended the mountain. Once on the mountain, Linziken instantly sensed several powerful energy entities. They were legendary level experts. The small Green Hills ancient mountain housed 7 legendary level experts. At the moment, these 7 legendary level experts, each looked exhausted, pale, and in a very weak state. This was the cost of continuously using their origin force to sustain the mountain protection array. Now, these 7 legendary level experts had to constantly expend origin force to repair the mountain protection array, without a moment's respite, and their physical condition visibly worsened. So much so that Linziken felt, even with his own biological level at merely epic order, he could take on all 7 legendary level experts now. This might sound a bit exaggerated. But the fact was, the condition of these 7 legendary level experts from Green Hill's ancient mountain was indeed very frail. "You 2 follow me. I'll take you to the treasure pavilion. As a reward for saving me, later you can freely pick 10 items from inside, pick anything, don't be polite," Sujuja said while walking ahead of Linziken and Shen Qinghan. Upon hearing that they could freely select 10 items from the treasure pavilion, Linziken felt a surge of excitement. Sujuja spoke again, Up ahead is the treasure pavilion. I will take you both for a round inside, first to see what evolution resources are available. Then you can slowly choose 10 items to take. Okay. Lin Zikin was laconically pragmatic, offering no unnecessary words. Shen Qinghan, on the other hand, seemed aloof, not having spoken a single word from the beginning to the end. Along the way, Lin Zikin saw many injured fox women. This was caused by the powerful aftershocks when Elder Tree and Lord of Silence jointly attacked the mountain protection array, directly injuring the lower biological level fox women under the array. Lin Zikin surveyed the surrounding fox women. The more he observed, the more astounded he became. All along the way, hardly any fox women cast a glance his way, completely baffling. Moreover, even though the holy maiden Sujuja had returned, not many fox women seemed to notice her. Lin Zikin thought it over and deduced that Green Hill's ancient mountain had just been besieged, so the fox women were all busy repairing the mountain protection array and had no time to pay attention to other trivial matters. Although the status of Holy Maiden was exalted, in the face of the mountain being attacked, it seemed rather unimportant. The mountain is too chaotic now, the mountain lord is not here, and as the Holy Maiden, I need to take charge of the situation. After the mountain protection array restarts, I'll take you to the treasure pavilion to pick your rewards. Halfway through their journey, Sujuja suddenly stopped and said. She played a small trick. Actually, as the Holy Maiden, she had no right to freely take the evolution resources from the treasure pavilion. Those resources belonged to every fox woman of Green Hill's ancient mountain. Only the Mountain Lord had the privilege to take them at will. However, Mountain Lord Sumai Xiao was her most beloved aunt, and as long as she wished, she could just ask Mountain Lord Sumai Xiao for permission to take them freely. But now with Sumai Xiao absent, she had to wait for Sumai Xiao's return before proceeding. Lin Zikin, unaware of these reasons, upon hearing Sujuja say to wait until the mountain protection array restarted, calmly replied, "All right, you first attend to your duties." No sooner had he spoken. Buzz! 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 Several piercing sounds of rushing air came from above Green Hill's ancient mountain, making everyone's eardrums buzz. Upon hearing the noise, Lin Zikin immediately looked up. Instantly, several streaks of black light flashed before his eyes. Then, the next second, 5 figures clad in black robes, both men and women, appeared inside Green Hill's ancient mountain. Upon seeing the 5, Lin Zikin habitually used danger perception to scrutinize their biological information. When he detected that 2 among them were legendary level experts, Lin Zikin's expression turned serious immediately, readying himself to flee with Shen Qinghan. The 5 individuals before him seemed like unwelcome visitors. Their sudden appearance here was likely not to bring anything good. And indeed, Sujuja's reaction confirmed his guess was absolutely right. Watching the leader of the 5, a young man, Sujuja frowned tightly and said, "Yan Yuming, what are you doing bringing your few guards to my Green Hill's ancient mountain?" She was quite familiar with Yan Yuming. Yan Yuming had come to Green Hill's ancient mountain several times before proposing a union, thoroughly annoying her. Yan Yuming said with a smile, "Of course, I've come to rescue you." "That's not it." Yan Yuming continued, "Not just to rescue you, but to save all the clan members of your Green Hill's ancient mountain." "What do you mean?" Sujuja furrowed her brow, knowing Yan Yuming, the son of the Night King, she didn't think he would be so altruistic. Yan Yuming's lips curled. P.S. Asking for monthly passes and recommendations. Chapter 484, 278, instantly killed the son of myth. Shocking the whole field. Facing Sujuju's torrent of curses, Yan Yuming smiled with ease, "Whether I am worthy or not, you'll find out soon enough." As soon as the words were out of his mouth, he immediately said to one of the guards beside him, "Hey Mo, take down those 7 fox women who are repairing the array ahead." "Yes, young master." The guard named Hey Mo responded. Then in the next second, he turned into a streak of black light and attacked the 7 fox women. These 7 fox women, who were repairing the array, were all elders from Green Hill's ancient mountain, rivaling only the mountain lord, Su Maiziao, as legendary level experts. Seeing an expert of the same level attacking, one of the fox women immediately stopped her repair work and unleashed a spiritual attack on the incoming aggressor. Normally, her spiritual attack could easily injure an opponent of the same level. But at the moment, because she had expended too much energy repairing the array, her body was extremely weak. The spiritual attack she launched was greatly diminished in power. Hei Mo blocked it without injury. Realizing her spiritual attack was ineffective, she didn't stubbornly resist further and immediately shouted, "I can't hold him off, I need 2 others to lend me a hand." With this cry, 2 other legendary level fox women flashed out, joining the one seeking assistance in a 3-on-1 attack against the incoming Hei Mo. Unfazed by the full-on collective assault of 3 experts of the same level, Hei Mo didn't budge. He unfolded his dark wings from behind. With a fierce flap forward. Then, a terrifying gust of wind appeared, carrying a strong force of origin force, sweeping towards the 3 legendary level fox women. The wind was extremely fast, and the 3 weakened fox women couldn't react or dodge in time. They were directly swept into the terrifying vortex and were instantly battered and bruised. The other legendary level fox women still repairing the array stopped their work and, as if by consensus, attacked Hei Mo, who was managing to fight 3 against 1, with an overwhelming advantage. Hei Mo had not expected all 7 to attack him at once and was momentarily stunned before he quickly retreated. Unfortunately, as he began to retreat, he was already surrounded by the 7 legendary level fox women. These 7 legendary level fox women, though currently in a weakened state, outnumbered him and easily beat Hei Mo despite their frail physical forms. Bai Mian, go help Hei Mo. Seeing Hei Mo at a disadvantage, Ye Yuming did not hesitate for a moment and immediately addressed another guard beside him. Hearing this, a guard dressed in white robes, named Bai Mian, quickly took a leap and vanished from everyone's sight. When he reappeared, he was already behind one of the legendary level fox women, and with a sudden raise of his hand, he pierced through her chest and pulled out a fresh, red heart. The fox woman spat out a mouthful of blood with a poof and exploded into a cloud of floating fox fur. She didn't die but escaped from the battlefield by severing her tail. The remaining 6 fox women on the battlefield immediately went on full alert, splitting half their strength to deal with the sudden intervention of Bai Mian. For a moment, a precarious balance was struck. 6 legendary level fox women, already physically frail and weakened, fought against the equally legendary level Hei Mo and Bai Mian, neither side able to gain the upper hand. Under the rhythm set by the 6 legendary level fox women, the location of the intense battle drifted further and further away. In just a few seconds, the fight moved from the mountaintop to the base of the mountain. The 6 legendary level fox women aimed to move the fight to prevent their kin from being injured by the residual effects of battle. After these 8 legendary level experts had left, aside from the 1 legendary level fox woman who had escaped, the strongest forces left in Green Hill's ancient mountain were now of the epic level. With 2 high-order epic level female guards at his command, Ye Yuming became even more fearless in this situation. He looked at Sujuju, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Holy Maiden, this is your chance to agree to the alliance. I hope you won't be ignorant of what's good for you." "And what if I am ignorant?" Sujuju was fearless against his threats, extremely defiant. This was Green Hill's ancient mountain, not Night Cavern. There was no reason to show weakness on her own turf. "Good, such spirit. I like conquering saints like you, to take your prime yin whilst you wear a face full of reluctance." Ye Yuming laughed with a flippant disregard. He had only just laughed when suddenly, he noticed Shen Qinghan standing beside Sujuju, and was immediately captivated. What a beautiful girl! Delicately frail, with a gentle temperament, every part of her exuded an aura begging for affection. Who was this girl? The moment he saw Shen Qinghan, Yan Yuming felt as if his soul had been hooked away. In all his years, he had never seen a female as stunning as her, far more beautiful than Sujuju, the holy maiden of Green Hill's ancient mountain. Are you a fox woman of Green Hill's ancient mountain as well? Why don't you have fox tails or fox ears on your head? Yan Yuming steadied his spirit, eyes intently fixed on Shen Qinghan. Shen Qinghan did not respond, instead timidly hiding behind Lin Zikan, avoiding Yan Yuming's gazes. Seeing Shen Qinghan almost pressing her body against Lin Zikan, exhibiting closeness, Yan Yuming's face instantly turned ugly. Qingluan, kill that man. Huang Ying, bring me that woman. Yan Yuming spoke without emotion. Upon hearing this, the two beautiful female guards behind him instantly sprang into action. Chapter 485, 278, instantly killed the son of myth. Shocking the whole field. _2. One wanted to kill Lin Zikan. The other wanted to abduct Shen Qinghan. Seeing two high-order epic-level experts simultaneously attacking his side, Lin Zikan's heart sank to the bottom of the valley. Just as he was about to make a move, trying to kill an enemy across levels, at that moment. Buzz! 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 Several whooshing sounds erupted all at once. Then, several graceful figures burst from behind and attacked the two female guards. Lin Zikan followed the sounds and looked at these graceful figures. Danger perception was simultaneously triggered. He immediately learned that these graceful figures were the epic-level experts from Green Hill's ancient mountain. Soon, several epic-level experts began to clash. Without any hesitation, Lin Zikan burst forth with all his Qi blood spirit, grabbed Shen Qinghan, and fled the area. This place in Green Hill's ancient mountain was simply not safe, it was better to leave quickly. Humph, think you can escape? Yan Yuming scoffed coldly, swiftly unleashed his origin force, and chased after them, intending to kill Lin Zikan and claim Shen Qinghan for himself. A mere rare 9th order insect dares to pursue me? How dare he covet my fiancée? Courting death. Lin Zikan, feeling rare anger, suddenly turned around to attack the oncoming Yan Yuming, with boundless blood chi power, fiercely punched at his head. Yan Yuming hadn't expected Lin Zikan to suddenly counterattack, even if he had, he couldn't have dodged it. Very soon, only a bang sound was heard. Lin Zikan's fist struck precisely on Yan Yuming's head, causing it to burst like an exploding watermelon, turning into a mist of blood. Bang! Another similar sound was heard. Lin Zikan threw a second punch, obliterating Yan Yuming's physical body into a mist of blood. Then, with a thought, he exhaled a burst of red flames from his mouth, vaporizing the blood mist in the air, utterly eliminating the possibility of Yan Yuming's flesh being reconstructed. Until the very last moment before his death, Yan Yuming didn't understand what had happened. He couldn't grasp how he, who seemingly had the upper hand a moment ago, ended up blown into a mist of blood and died on the spot. Young master. Elsewhere, Qingluan and Huang Ying, who noticed the scene of Yan Yuming being killed, screamed in shock and terror. With Yan Yuming dead, as close personal female guards, they were likely to follow him in death. After successfully striking, Lin Zikan didn't dare to stay a moment longer, he went all out firing up his power and fled with Shen Qinghan, intending to escape from Green Hill's ancient mountain, this place of trouble, as fast as possible. Seeing the murderer about to flee, Qingluan and Huang Ying, desperate as if mad, sacrificed the origin force from their sea of consciousness, considerably boosting their strength momentarily, driving the 6 legendary level fox women back step by step. Then, moving with the fastest speed of their lives, they bolted like lightning toward Lin Zikan. With Yan Yuming dead, if the two of them failed to capture the murderer, they would definitely end up accompanying him in death. If they could capture the murderer and bring him back to the Night Cavern for the Night King to deal with, then they might have a slim chance of surviving. Elders, hurry and save him! Sujuja, in a panic, immediately shouted out to the 6 legendary level fox women. She knew Lin Zikan was very strong, strong enough to kill geniuses across levels. But Qingluan and Huang Ying, both high-order epic experts, far surpassed Lin Zikan in biological level. Even the genius Lin Zikan couldn't possibly handle high-order epic experts. Furthermore, they were two high-order epic experts enraged. Holy Maiden, don't act rashly. The leading legendary level fox woman, out of breath, dropped this comment. Afterward, she led the other 5 legendary level fox women to continue repairing the mountain protection array. As elders of Green Hill's ancient mountain, their status was not lower than that of Sujuja, the Holy Maiden, and even somewhat higher, being powerful figures second only to the Mountain Lord. In the skies above Green Hill's ancient mountain, Lin Zikan flew extremely fast, exiting the territory of Green Hill's ancient mountain in just the blink of an eye and speeding away into the distance. Buzz! Buzz! 2 whooshing sounds came from behind him. Hearing the sounds, Lin Zikan knew that those two, named Qingluan and Huang Ying, the high-order epic experts, had chased after him, seeking to avenge the dead Ye Wuming. Feeling their incredible speed, Lin Zikan knew he couldn't escape with flight control. So, he decisively dived downward, deciding to plunge into the vast forest below to completely shake off the 2 high-order epic experts who were hot on his heels. When Qingluan and Huang Ying saw this, the next second, they too dove into the large forest. As soon as Lin Zikan landed, he immediately used burrowing instinct. His hands turned into blurs so fast they could frictionally charge the air, feverishly digging into the soil beneath his feet. It was just a blink of an eye, and the once flat ground suddenly gave way to a bottomless cavern. Buzz! Buzz! Following 2 familiar sounds of swishing through the air, Qingluan and Huang Ying landed simultaneously on the edge of the cavern, staring at the abyss beneath their feet. Both felt utterly shocked. Both couldn't comprehend how Lin Zikan had managed to create such a deep cavern underfoot in the blink of an eye. How had he done it? Though puzzled and confused, they did not dwell on it for long and quickly entered the cave to continue their pursuit of Lin Zikan. Deep inside the cavern, Lin Zikan was frantically digging with his hands, enhanced by burrowing instinct, while having Shen Qinghan cling to his back. As he dug deeper, large amounts of groundwater began to seep in from the end of the cavern, making the digging increasingly difficult. Despite this, Lin Zikan's heart remained undisturbed as he continued to dig furiously. Suddenly, his expression drastically changed when he sensed Qingluan and Huang Ying rapidly approaching from behind. It was over. They had caught up. There was no escape. What to do when there was no escape? He would just have to confront them head-on. With that thought, Lin Zikan set down Shen Qinghan, and with a serious face, said to her, "You have a unique constitution that can completely dissolve into the water and escape from here. Quickly melt into the groundwater beneath your feet and leave this place." "What about you?" Shen Qinghan refused to leave, worried about Lin Zikan. Lin Zikan didn't waste words and simply said coldly, "Go, staying here will only burden me." Burden. Upon hearing these words, Shen Qinghan's heart ached intensely. She knew she was somewhat of a burden, but hearing Lin Zikan say it out loud made her feel especially heartbroken. Heartbroken as she was, she still understood the priorities. She simply told Lin Zikan to be careful, and the next second, she slipped into the groundwater underfoot and completely elementalized into it. Feeling that Shen Qinghan had left, Lin Zikan's tense heart relaxed a bit. Afterward, his eyes narrowed as he began sacrificing the essence blood in his heart and the divine sense in his sea of consciousness, temporarily enhancing his strength as much as possible to prepare for the imminent deadly battle with Qingluan and Huang Ying. 996 meters. 652 meters. 311 meters. 103 meters. 9 meters. Lin Zikan silently counted the distance between himself and Qingluan and Huang Ying in his heart. When the distance narrowed to just 9 meters. Around the corner ahead, 2 curvaceous figures suddenly appeared. It was Qingluan and Huang Ying, both of whom were biological level high epic level. "Capture him alive!" Qingluan's voice sounded incredibly sinister. As her words fell, she immediately sprinted forward, her figure flashed, and she appeared right in front of Lin Zikan. Enter the central region, enter the relics, gain power, evolve wildly. The central region is actually the very center of the abyss. The abysses in other regions all spread out from the abyss of the central region. Then came the legendary level. After that, the situation was instantly reversed, as the Sun-Moon Sacred Land forces overwhelmingly defeated their enemies. Ultimately, the big battle was a resounding victory for the Sun-Moon Sacred Land side. Earthlings completely withdrew from the area. Because Shen Qinghan was still trapped in the Palace of Water God and couldn't leave, Lin Zikan alone stood guard over the lonely city, protecting Shen Qinghan. City number 1. Finally, Shen Qinghan's attributes helped Lin Zikan escape into the abyss with her. He found it identical to what he had seen in his dreams. Later, the male lead uses abyss monsters to kill legendary or mythical level experts. Backed by the abyss, he became the abyss master. Using abyss monsters to kill mythical level creatures, causing the universe to change color, various strange phenomena occurred, shocking everyone. P.S. Begging bowl out, seeking monthly pass recommendations. Chapter 486, 279. Central Region Yuan Land. Welcome the legendary level expert. The Qingluan, with the biological level as high as Epic 7th Order, instantly charged in front of Lin Zikan, attacking his Sea of Consciousness with a massive amount of origin force, intending to severely injure Lin Zikan in a single strike and completely destroy his ability to resist. Faced with an attack from a rare 7th Order expert, Lin Zikan was undaunted by the danger and immediately utilized every biometric attribute he could muster. In an instant, countless plant roots burst from the ground around them, carrying extremely lethal venom, and surged toward the Qingluan like venomous snakes. Simultaneously, Lin Zikan's body erupted with qi blood, concentrating nearly all of his blood qi power into his fist and furiously striking at the incoming Qingluan. This punch, besides holding an earth-shattering amount of blood qi power, also carried various biometric attributes that could plunge the target into an abnormal state. Boom! When Lin Zikan's fist collided with the origin force released by the Qingluan, a powerful shockwave instantly rippled outward, causing the entire cave to collapse. However, the 3 individuals inside weren't buried alive. Because the sand and rocks collapsing from the cave were instantly annihilated into nothingness by the shockwave. The originally unfathomably deep cave was now a gaping pit that couldn't be seen to the bottom. From a high altitude, it appeared like a pit created by a nuclear blast. Boom! Boom! 2 thunderous collision sounds exploded fiercely. Lin Zikan and the Qingluan, sent flying by the full force impact, almost simultaneously crashed into the hard rock walls, causing large and startling spiderweb cracks and kicking up clouds of dust. Once the dust had settled, Lin Zikan staggered out of the rock wall, blood streaming from all 7 orifices, his mind unclear. The Qingluan's earlier attack had directly assaulted his Sea of Consciousness, causing it to churn and impairing his control of his body. On the other side, the Qingluan, also possessing a biological level of Epic 7th Order, was even more heavily injured than Lin Zikan. A huge hole had opened in its chest. Suffering various abnormal states like dizziness, bleeding, and poisoning. The entire being was disoriented, still deeply embedded in the rock wall, unable to move. How is this possible? Huang Ying, another expert of Epic 7th Order, was completely shocked to see Lin Zikan still standing after their exchange, while the higher-leveled Qingluan was trapped in the rock wall, unable to get out, and couldn't believe what she saw. The Qingluan was an ultimate expert of Epic 7th Order. How could it be defeated by a greenhorn? What in the world was going on? Although baffled, Huang Ying didn't dwell on the spot in confusion but quickly unleashed her origin force, attacking the wobbling Lin Zikan in front of her. She made her move with all her firepower, intending to deal a severe blow to Lin Zikan, wary of ending up like the Qingluan. Feeling the murderous intent approaching, Lin Zikan, under the intense premonition of danger perception, quickly regained his senses from a state of mental disarray. Unfortunately, it was useless to regain his senses. In the previous clash with the Qingluan, he had damaged not only his sea of consciousness but also his physical body. And the damage was severe. Even with rapid self-healing, he wouldn't be able to fully recover in a short amount of time. Dragging such a battered body, he simply couldn't avoid Huang Ying's full-powered strike. Just at this critical juncture. Boom! A tremendous noise erupted. Between Lin Zikan and Huang Ying, a massive amount of underground water suddenly surged from the ground, instantly separating the two. Then, a figure delicate as water burst forth from the water column, scattering bright blue hair in midair with ripples seemingly spreading in her eyes. Then her spirit forcefully erupted, launching an intense spiritual attack at Huang Ying below. This spiritual attack came very unexpectedly. Huang Ying couldn't react in time and was caught completely off guard. Like being struck by lightning, her body jerked momentarily. This seemingly electrified state did not last long and was over in an instant. Shen Qinghan's biological level was too low, far below Huang Ying's epic 7th order. The reason the spiritual attack had any effect was because it caught her by surprise, barely causing the epic 7th order Huang Ying to jerk momentarily. However, this brief spasm was more than enough for Lin Zikan. Seizing the fleeting opportunity, Lin Zikan, ignoring the risk to the foundation of his body, sacrificed a significant amount of his essence blood to burst forth with unprecedented power, using blink step to appear in front of Huang Ying. Then, he raised his hand toward her stunningly beautiful face and fiercely swung his fist directly at it. Thump! Huang Ying's head was instantly obliterated into a mist of blood. Thump! Huang Ying's graceful body was turned into an even larger cloud of blood mist. Whoosh! A flare of crimson flames spontaneously ignited, burning the blood mist lingering in the air into nothing, disappearing from this world as if it had never existed. At the same time, the Qingluan, just coming to from its dizziness, staggered out from the rock wall. As it emerged, it witnessed Lin Zikan killing Huang Ying despite the level difference, causing it to freeze in place. Huang Ying was dead? Slain by this youth who seemed even younger than their young master? This couldn't be possible. The Qingluan couldn't accept this reality, suspecting that it still hadn't come to its senses. While it stood there stupefied, Shen Qinghan, standing atop a water column, decisively moved her thoughts and released her spirit power against it. Having taken a heavy hit to her sea of consciousness in the recent exchange with Lin Zikan, the Qingluan sea of consciousness was still in chaos, and it remained in a state of stupor. Chapter 487, 279. Central Region Yuan Land. Counterattacking the legendary level expert. _2. Facing Shen Qinghan's spiritual attack, she couldn't withstand even a second, and was instantly plunged into hallucination. Upon seeing this, Lin Zikan didn't hesitate in the slightest, his figure flashed before her, and with a fist filled with dense blood chi power, he violently struck, creating a loud boom as he blasted it into a large mist of blood. Then, the familiar sound of swoosh followed, the blood mist was instantaneously incinerated by the crimson flames into nothingness, ceasing to exist. Could I really be this strong? Lin Zikan, looking at his fist wrapped in blood chi power, had a vacant expression on his face, feeling somewhat surreal. He knew he was strong, but he hadn't expected to be strong enough to instantly kill two epic 7th order experts across levels. Moreover, it was a 2-on-1 instantaneous cross-level slaughter. One must know, this was a cross-level killing at the epic stage. The weight of this accomplishment far surpassed that of ordinary, high-level, or rare stages of cross-level killing. I'm really defying the heavens. Lin Zikan felt a surge of excitement, his heart swelling somewhat. But quickly, he calmed down. He thought about it. His light work in slaughtering two opponents across levels was due to many factors beyond his own strength. For instance, Shen Qinghan's help, the enemy's underestimation, and so on. Without Shen Qinghan's help, and if the enemy had taken him seriously, he would have never been able to achieve an easy cross-level slaughter. Lin Ziyi, are you all right? Seeing that the enemies had been completely annihilated and determining the safety of the moment, Shen Qinghan lightly tapped her toes and gently floated down next to Lin Zikan, her voice full of concern. Breathing slightly heavily, Lin Zikan said, "I'm fine." Afterward, he asked, "Why did you suddenly come back?" "I was worried about you." Shen Qinghan's voice was timid, fearful of being scolded by Lin Zikan. Strictly speaking, it wasn't a scolding but more like a stern father's lecture. Lin Zikan's heart warmed up upon hearing this, and he gently caressed her face, speaking softly, "It's good that you were worried and chose to come back to check on me. Otherwise I might have really been done for this time." These words weren't meant to comfort Shen Qinghan but were an ironclad truth. If it hadn't been for Shen Qinghan's timely arrival, applying a spiritual attack on Huang Ying, Lin Zikan would likely have been severely injured by Huang Ying, left at their mercy. "Am I still a burden now?" Shen Qinghan raised her delicate little hand and placed it on the back of the hand that Lin Zikan was resting on her face, her peach blossom eyes looking earnestly into Lin Zikan's eyes, asking from the bottom of her heart. Lin Zikan replied seriously, "You have never been a burden to me." "You're lying." Shen Qinghan pursed her lips, "You clearly just said not so long ago that I was a burden to you." Lin Zikan explained, "The reason I said that was because I felt there was no chance of winning, and it would be better to let you leave rather than suffer with me." Shen Qinghan didn't like this explanation, her eyes reddening as she emotionally said, "From now on, no matter what dangers we encounter, you are not allowed to bear it alone, you must let me stay by your side, got it?" "All right." Lin Zikan acknowledged with a sound. This all right wasn't perfunctory, it was just his nature. Shen Qinghan, having grown up with him from childhood, knew that he wasn't being dismissive. The two exchanged these simple words. Quickly after, they left the area and continued flying in the direction away from Green Hill's ancient mountain. "Lin Ziyi, you mentioned earlier that the sea god from the eastern region was one of the figures on the mural in the underwater ruins, a guard who knelt in worship to a mysterious woman." Having finished speaking, Shen Qinghan curiously asked, "Even a mythical level being needs to kneel in worship, so what kind of existence is that mysterious woman lying on the shell?" After considering it, Lin Zikan answered, "I feel she should be at least mythical 9th order great perfection, or perhaps a rank even higher than mythical level." Shen Qinghan became even more curious, "A rank higher than mythical level? What rank could that be?" "Lin Zikan, I don't know about that either." The two chatted on and off in whispers while using blood chi power for voice transmission, flying at high speed in the sky, moving farther away from Green Hill's ancient mountain. Unknowingly, they had completely left Green Hill's ancient mountain behind, arriving at the edge of the southern domain, bordering the central region. From dozens of miles away, Lin Zikan sensed the desolation of the desert that bordered the central region. After a brief sensing, he noticed an interesting place. The desert on the southern domain side sparsely hosted some greenery, not looking as desolate. Conversely, the desert on the side of the central region was barren, with only soil and sand, like an old man at dusk with little vitality, exuding an ancient and desolate air throughout. Lin Zikan still remembered some descriptions of the central region from various records. The records say that the central region is a vast ruin of civilization, containing numerous relics and inheriting the oldest civilization of the origin land, a forbidden area that is opened periodically. Most of the mythical level creatures in the origin land are born in the central region. I wonder if the central region is open now. Let's go take a look. With this thought, Lin Zikan, cradling Shen Qinghan, rushed towards the boundary of the central region. Elsewhere, in a patch of azure sky, the current city lord of the number 1 city, Qin Chuan, looked extremely disheveled, fleeing at high speed covered in blood. Behind him, the two deputy city lords, Bai Wubian and Shang Guanyuehua, were relentlessly pursuing him, vowing to kill him completely. No good. I was wounded too badly in that sneak attack just now. If this goes on, getting caught is just a matter of time. I can't just wait to die. I need to think of a way to deal with the two traitors behind me. I've got it. Ahead lies the central region. At the border between the two domains, there is an origin crystal mine ruin, inhabited by a terrifying guardian beast. I can lure those two traitors into the ruins to have them killed indirectly. With this thought in mind, Qin Chuan decisively changed direction, flying as fast as possible towards the origin crystal mine ruins. He intended to use the guardian beast's claws to kill Bai Wubian and Shang Guanyuehua, who were in hot pursuit behind him. Especially Shang Guanyuehua. This despicable woman, who had secured her position as Deputy City Lord and earned the qualifications to compete for the City Lord title through her frequent intimate exchanges with him, had turned out to be such a traitor. This woman must die. Feeling betrayed, Qin Chuan was filled with hatred for Shang Guanyuehua. At the border between two domains, Lin Zikan, with Shen Qinghan in tow, flew rapidly across the sky above this area and smoothly entered the periphery of the central region. After entering, they chose to land and walk on foot, not daring to fly high in the sky as they had just done. Flying high in the sky made them too obvious of a target, easily becoming a thorn in the eyes of other living beings, and could be shot down within minutes. By contrast, walking on foot was a good way to conceal their presence and could avoid many unnecessary troubles. Lin Ziai, there's a cave ahead. I can sense a lot of water inside it, a lot of water containing rich origin force. After traveling for dozens of miles, when they arrived at the foot of a desolate mountain, Shen Qinghan sensitively sensed a massive cave at the base of the mountain. Inside the cave, there was rich origin force, as well as a multitude of oddly shaped aquatic creatures. Hearing what Shen Qinghan said, Lin Zikan couldn't help but be surprised. His spiritual strength was even higher than hers, yet he hadn't been able to extend his spiritual power into the cave to carefully sense everything inside. So how did she do it? Could it be because of her special physique? She was naturally sensitive to water, to the extent that she was sensitive to everything in the water, so much so that she needed to have a grasp on it. Yes, that must be it. Lin Zikan thought so silently to himself. Just then, boom! A piercing sound of tearing through the air exploded from behind. Hearing this deafening noise, Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan immediately looked up in the direction of the sound. Then, three familiar figures entered their line of sight: Qin Chuan, covered in blood and fleeing in a pitiful state, and Bai Wubian and Shang Guanyuehua, who, albeit slightly injured, were teaming up to chase after Qin Chuan. No, I purposely avoided them by such a distance. How could their battle still involve me? P.S. Bowing down, asking for monthly passes and recommendation tickets. Chapter 488. 280, Ruins of the Central Region. A legendary level expert? Death is imminent. Lin Zikan felt very uncomfortable at the moment. In order to avoid the great battle, he had travelled 1,000 miles to escape to the central region. Unexpectedly, he encountered Qin Chuan here. Moreover, the most fatal part was that Qin Chuan was currently being pursued and killed by two traitorous deputy city lords, and the situation was very grim. Let's go, we're going in. As soon as Lin Zikan finished speaking, his figure flashed, taking Shen Qinghan into the cave ahead. Hoping to hide inside and avoid the three people in the sky. After entering the cave, Lin Zikan discovered a whole new world within. He had thought it would be a pitch-black, bottomless cavern, but it turned out to be a small world with no end in sight. How can this cave be so huge? It looks much bigger than the whole mountain. Shen Qinghan surveyed everything before her, her delicate face filled with disbelief. Lin Zikan also felt it was incredible, and after some thought, he answered, it might involve some kind of spatial structure, just like a storage bag. It looks small on the outside, but inside it can hold many large items. Yeah, that must be it. Shen Qinghan nodded in agreement. Lin Zikin remained silent, quietly observing the environment. The environment in front of him was very open, and everything that met the eye was stones, appearing very primitive with no signs of life. After taking stock with his eyes, Lin Zikin released his spiritual power, letting it spread toward the depths of the cave. But before it could spread beyond his field of vision, it couldn't extend any farther. The areas beyond his line of sight seemed to be blocked by an invisible thin membrane, preventing his spiritual power from spreading further. Lin Zi, it's so strange, my spiritual power can't spread any further. Shen Qinghan said with a slight frown. Just like Lin Zikin, she had also been spreading her spiritual power to sense the environment deeper in the cave. Lin Zikin's brow also furrowed as he said, me too, my spiritual power can't extend either, this place seems to be able to block spiritual power. While he was saying this, he felt somewhat uncertain in his heart. The unknown is always full of danger. In the past, when he arrived in unfamiliar places, he could rely on his spiritual power to get to know the environment. Now, with the loss of his ability to sense with his spiritual power, he felt particularly insecure. Should we still go further inside? Shen Qinghan's frown deepened, obviously leaning towards not going any further inside. Lin Zikin shared the thought and said, since our spiritual power is useless here, for safety's sake, we better not take the risk of going further. Indeed, it's probably better not to go in. Shen Qinghan nodded like a pecking chicken in agreement. Lin Zikin suddenly remembered something and asked, before coming in, you said you sensed a large amount of water containing rich origin force and all sorts of strange creatures inside the cave. How did you sense that? Although this cave seemed to block spiritual power, Shen Qinghan had been able to sense the environment inside the cave from the outside. This was a bit difficult to explain. Shen Qinghan knew what he was puzzled about and quickly explained, it wasn't that I sensed it by spreading my spiritual power. But the palace of water god in my sea of consciousness sensed it. Lin Zikin was curious, how did the palace of water god sense that? Shen Qinghan explained patiently, I don't know how the palace of water god sensed it, but I saw a perspective from above the palace that went deep into the cave, and following that perspective, I could see part of the environment inside. After listening, Lin Zikin felt that something was off, and after a moment of silence, he voiced his speculation, I have a feeling that the palace of water god in your sea of consciousness is guiding you into the cave. Upon hearing this, Shen Qinghan, coming to the realization belatedly, said with a dawning expression, you know what, now that you mention it, it does seem like that's the case. The palace of water god in her sea of consciousness was usually quietly soaking there without any movement. The sudden appearance of a perspective going into the cave was clearly intentional. Lin Zikin guessed again, do you think inside the cave might be a relic, an ancient relic related to the water god? Maybe. Shen Qinghan couldn't give an answer to Lin Zikin's question. She was just a little girl without any assertiveness. Usually, when she was with Lin Zikin, she would try not to think too much and play the role of someone with no personal thoughts. She was too dependent on Lin Zikin. The current her, if not accompanied by Lin Zikin, basically wouldn't know how to survive. Meanwhile, Lin Zikin hesitated. He was debating whether or not he and Shen Qinghan should venture further into the cave to explore. Thinking that the guidance came from the palace of water god, he felt that venturing deeper into the cave with Shen Qinghan should not be dangerous, but instead might yield unexpected rewards. As he was contemplating this, buzz! A whizzing sound came from outside the cave. The sound was deafening. It was as if it was right next to them. Lin Zikin realized it was Qin Chuan and his face changed color instantly. Before he could react, the injured Qin Chuan, enveloped in his strong blood qi power, charged at high speed into the cave. Qin Chuan didn't expect there to be people inside the cave and paused in surprise. But when he saw that the two people inside were Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan, he was completely stunned. He couldn't imagine how the two who were in the southern domain not long ago could now be in a relic in the central region. especially since this was a relic whose entrance was hidden by a special array. His bewilderment was fleeting. Quickly coming to his senses, Qin Chuan waved his hand and took Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan along, rushing frantically deeper into the cave. Behind them, Bai Wubian and Shang Guan Yuehua, who were in relentless pursuit, were surprised to see Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan as well. Chapter 489, 280, Ruins of the Central Region. A legendary level expert? Death is imminent, _2. And this accident soon turned into a surprise. As traders, they were well aware of the value of Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan. Not to mention, capturing these two and offering them to the flower god could net a handsome sum of evolution resources. Buy one get two, this is going to be a huge win. Excited, Bai Wubian immediately sacrificed essence blood to increase his chi blood burst, and his flying speed soared to several times its normal rate in an instant. Seeing this, Shang Guan Yuehua also followed suit, sacrificing essence blood to enhance her flying speed. She was more cautious than Bai Wubian and reminded, "Be careful, if Qin Chuan chose to flee here, he must be relying on something." Bai Wubian was unconcerned, "Don't worry, I have been spreading my spiritual power to its maximum extent, always vigilant to any movement around us. If anything unexpected occurs, I can react in time." Since he had said so, Shang Guan Yuehua did not say more and focused on boosting her speed to chase after Qin Chuan. Qin Chuan was seriously injured and not as fast as the two pursuing him from behind. In just a few breaths, the gap had closed significantly. Qin Chuan frowned deeply at this. He also wanted to sacrifice essence blood to increase his flying speed. Unfortunately, his circumstances did not allow it. In the prior 2-against-1 battle, he had suffered heavy physical injuries and was in no condition to sacrifice essence blood. Fortunately, he had entered this ruin on the edge of the central region several times and was very familiar with the environment here. Using this advantage, he led Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan through a convoluted route, gradually increasing the distance between them and the two treacherous deputy city lords behind them. How is he so familiar with the environment here? Has he entered this ruin multiple times? As Qin Chuan, once inside the ruin, became as comfortable as a fish in water, Bai Wubian's face lost its initial composure and became more cautious. As soon as he finished speaking, Shang Guan Yuehua said, "Old dog Qin has gone into the pool ahead." Under the watchful eyes of the two traitorous deputy city lords, Qin Chuan, along with Lin Zikan and Shen Qinghan, plunged into a pool. The moment they saw the bottom of the pool as they submerged, Shen Qinghan was first taken aback, then quickly realized and transmitted to Lin Zikan using chi blood, "Lin Zi, it's this pool. This pool is the one that appeared in my sea of consciousness from the palace of Water God, containing a large amount of water rich in origin force. Look quickly, there are many oddly shaped aquatic creatures at the depths of the pool, just like the creature projections I saw in the palace of Water God." Hearing Shen Qinghan's words, Lin Zikan sensed the origin force contained in the water while examining the aquatic creatures at the pool's bottom. The origin force in the water was thick, so concentrated that it nearly crystallized. The creatures at the pool's bottom were extremely bizarre, similar to those in the abyss, with life forms so unique they defied understanding, baffling anyone who saw them. As Qin Chuan kept sinking, suddenly, splash! A crisp sound of breaking water rang out. The next second, Lin Zikan found himself no longer bathed in the cool pool water, but falling into a dimly lit space. He immediately looked over at Shen Qinghan. Seeing that Shen Qinghan was all right, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then, with a focused mind and alert, he carefully examined the surroundings of this strange place. A quick scan revealed the area was surrounded by source crystals. Most were columnar. By their shape, they resembled the stalactites found in limestone caverns. The only difference being, stalactites hung from the ceiling, whereas the columnar source crystals in front of him stood erect on the ground. If he wasn't mistaken, they should have formed from dripping water. Thinking this, Lin Zikin looked up above him. The sight that met his eyes was an inverted water surface hanging overhead. Above the water was the pool they had just been in. So this was a space beneath the pool? How did the city lord know about this place? Had he been here before? Lin Zikin's mind was racing with thoughts. At that moment, two powerful energy fluctuations came from the pool above. Qin Chuan, who first sensed the energies, looked extremely grave. Without any hesitation, he quickly turned to Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan and said, "Head to the most secluded, most open spot. Whatever you do, don't get near the source crystals. Fast!" Qin Chuan shouted the last fast particularly loudly. Worried that Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan might stand still in place. Hearing Qin Chuan's shout, Lin Zikin quickly scooped up Shen Qinghan and rushed toward a corner at their quickest speed. He didn't know the reason behind Qin Chuan's instructions. But in the current situation, he had no choice but to trust Qin Chuan. Besides, there was no other way. In just the blink of an eye, Lin Zikin had taken Shen Qinghan to a hidden corner without source crystals. Shen Qinghan asked softly, "Lin Zi, why does the city lord want us to stay away from the source crystals?" "I'm not clear on that." Lin Zikin finished speaking and then added, "For now, let's stay quiet and watch for changes." "Okay." Shen Qinghan obediently agreed, then closed her mouth, staying silent. Lin Zikin held his breath, his gaze remaining on the water surface above, quietly waiting for the two betrayers, Bai Wubian and Shang Guanyuehua, to come in. At the same time, he spread out his spirit power, trying to sense the environment of the place. However, the result was disappointing. The spirit power couldn't diffuse at all, just like it was ineffective above the pool. Chapter 490, 280, Central Region Ruins. A legendary level expert? Your time of death is imminent, _3. Seeing that spiritual power couldn't seep out, Lin Zikin withdrew all his spiritual power and focused intently on Qin Chuan in front of him and the water's surface above. He wanted to see how Qin Chuan would deal with the two treacherous deputy city lords who were about to attack. Splash! Splash! Two crisp splashing sounds rang out. Bai Wubian and Shang Guanyuehua broke through the water almost simultaneously, coming into Lin Zikin's field of vision. Seeing these two traitorous deputy city lords, Lin Zikin's heart was hanging by a thread. Both of the traitorous deputy city lords were legendary level experts. If Qin Chuan couldn't deal with the two of them, then Lin Zikin, whose biological level was only at the first step of epic, would be in a dire situation. He feared he would have to resort to a mechanical descent of gods to solve the crisis. For example, just like the time in the coastal forest facing the Ninth Elder, relying on Shen Qinghan's mechanical descent of a god to kill the Ninth Elder and lift the crisis. "Qin, you old dog, you seem very familiar with this place, have you been here before?" Bai Wubian looked at Qin Chuan with a disrespectful tone. Shang Guanyuehua didn't speak but silently spread out her spiritual power to sense the surrounding environment, then frowned upon finding that her spirit power couldn't spread out. The two treacherous deputy city lords held back from making a move, not because they didn't want to, but because they didn't dare to act rashly. Qin Chuan had stopped at this place and didn't flee, waiting to face the two of them head-on. This caused a trace of unease in their hearts, feeling that there was some sort of scheme at play. Qin Chuan saw their unease and spoke with a slightly weak voice, "Do you see the source crystals here? This amount rivals the gains from killing a legendary level alien. Inside this relic, there are many more spaces filled with source crystals like this one. Spare me, and I'll tell you about the remaining spaces, how about that?" The offer was very tempting. Qin Chuan was just a legendary level expert, and while killing him would be profitable, it wouldn't be that much in the grand scheme of things. Especially when the two would have to split the rewards. But if it was as Qin Chuan said and there were many spaces like this one inside the relic filled with source crystals, then they truly would have struck gold. Thinking this, both Bai Wubian and Shang Guan Yuehua were tempted. Among them, Bai Wubian, unable to suppress the greed deep in his heart, made a sweeping gesture with his hand intending to collect all the source crystals on the scene into the storage space deep within his sea of consciousness. Seeing this, Shang Guan Yuehua slightly frowned, then with a thought, she stopped Bai Wubian from taking all the source crystals. Bai Wubian laughed, "Don't worry, I will share with you afterwards, there's no need to divide it so clearly right now." Shang Guan Yuehua replied expressionlessly, "It's better to divide it now." After saying that, she collected the remaining half of the source crystals into her storage space, splitting them 50-50 with Bai Wubian. On the other side, Qin Chuan, seeing the two traitorous deputy city lords had put all the source crystals into their storage spaces, couldn't help but show a relieved smile. Bai Wubian saw Qin Chuan smile and also laughed out loud, "Qin, you old dog, what are you laughing at? Did you think just because I took the source crystals here, I agreed to the request you just made? Killing you, all the source crystals naturally belong to us. Those spaces filled with source crystals you mentioned, since you could find them, there's no reason Yuehua and I cannot find them together. Qin, you old dog, enjoy the last few seconds of laughter while you are still alive, soon you will have nothing to laugh about." "You have no idea why I am laughing," Qin Chuan said, looking at Bai Wubian and Shang Guan Yuehua opposite him with a deeper smile, "It's because you two are going to die." "About to die?" Bai Wubian and Shang Guan Yuehua looked on, clueless. Just then, roar! A terrifying beastly roar came from the depths of the pool bottom space, causing the entire ground to crack open with countless startling fissures. P.S. Bowing down, seeking monthly pass and recommendation tickets.